Hey, I'm Steph.
And I'm Meg.
And you're listening to the Slowly Stitched podcast where we talk all things conscious fashion.
I can't believe we're back again. Yay! After our pilot, which we enjoyed so much, and so did you, we are so glad to be back again for season 1. And season 1 is so juicy. This season is all about fashion and identity. And in this season in particular, we're going to be talking about everything: psychology, mental health and well-being, race, sexuality, gender, you name it. It's so important that we talk about sustainability through the lens of people, and we are doing just that. This season we are in for a treat though, because it's not just Steph and I. We are joined by some amazing new friends and powerhouses in this space, and people who are really transforming and changing the narrative, and we feel like we should introduce them to you too. You're tuned into episode 5, Style My Mind, which really is about looking at the psychology of fashion and how dressing affects both your mood and how you are perceived, but also how clothes are way deeper than just what you wear.
So today we are joined by the brilliant fashion psychologist, writer, and host of Style My Mind podcast, Jennifer Heinen.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. We're so excited.
Guys, we've not been able to stop talking.
I know.
Is even just trying to do that intro. We can't stop talking. Jennifer is incredible. And also, look how amazing that she looks. Like, I can't stop looking. So if you see me stare at you, just and zone out. There's a reason. I'm really trying to. And Steph has already told me off of giggling. So I'm really trying to keep it together. But this episode, guys, is going to be so good.
So good. So, as you all know, we have a little segment called Fashion Feeling. So I'm going to ask you, Jennifer, what is your fashion feeling today? What inspired this look? And why do you look so gorgeous?
Oh, thank you. Well, I wanted to utilize my fashion psychology background and dive into feeling confident, feeling bright and happy, and with the sun out in London, it's just amazing to have a bit of pop of color. So I wanted to tap into that. So I am wearing pretty much my signature suit by now. It's like a sky blue suit with like a caramelly yellowish kind of checkered patterns, and a black waistcoat and a bit of jewelry that matches that, and then my signature finger wave with my gray hair on the front, and my big bold black glasses, and my red lips and red nails matching today as well. So
it's just everything back to
the T.
So good. so good.
It's so good. A little bit of tea, everyone. The reason why I messaged Jennifer, it was her hair.
Yeah,
it was your hair. It was your LinkedIn photo, okay? So obviously I've seen you done bits and pieces, but I was like, she just looks so cool. And I was like, I can just tell she's going to be a really nice person. Did I not say this?
No,
to you?
literally.
I
Steph was like, we found someone, and she was just like, she just looks awesome. And as soon as Steph showed me, and I'd watched all of the bits and videos and read bits that you'd written, I was like, yes! No wonder she's so cool. Because she dresses cool, because she is cool. Like, what?
Oh my God. I'm going home, and I'm going to be like, wow, I'm like...
You're going to be walking and
cloud
kicking down It's giving a musical. I just want to know what the soundtrack when you go home and you're shimmying is going to be.
Dance party.
No, I love it. And yeah, just kind of what you said around your signature question, because we're going to be like going into it a little bit later, and I know this is a little bit off our segment, but if you were feeling a little bit different today, or the weather was different, how would that have changed what you would have worn today?
It would have made my dressing choices even more intentional.
Ooh.
Because in the end, I utilize fashion to serve me, not only in the aspect of, you know, covering our beautiful bodies. It's more than that. And having the psychological knowledge around it, I would have just dressed even more intentional, because I wanted to invoke the feeling of being confident, of being bubbly and cheerful and open and not feeling restricted and hiding. So if the weather would have been worse, or I would have maybe not slept as well and stuff, I would have had to maybe dip into even more color or anything that evokes even stronger feelings to support my nervous system, so that we're getting to a point where I'm now on the same level. So yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Steph, you look incredible today.
I was actually going to ask you
No,
first.
don't do that. I'm coming to you because we need to get into it. First of all, this green, everything's just working. It's working from the earrings and everything. What's your fashion feeling today?
I think to Jennifer's point, like London is just becoming that vibe right now. Like the sun is out, there's blossom on the trees, I'm seeing greenery. And I feel like because we'll probably delve into colour theory a little bit later. I wanted to just like wear like a bold colour today.
It is.
So I've just got this long green maxi dress on, these cute little flower earrings. Can't remember. I think they're from Madrid, so sorry guys, you can't get them. International. I've paired it with just like very minimal jewelry today. I've got my little tiger's eye ring for good luck because I want this episode to go amazing, even though it will. And then of course I've got Stephanie jades on the feet, not that you guys can see. This is my brand. I didn't know if I said this to you.
Oh no, you haven't. They're amazing.
Thank you. So yeah, I wanted to do a little bit more colour, so I've got a little bit of pink and orange on.
I love it.
So, yeah. What were you, Meg?
I was waiting for you guys to ask me. I just sat here and I'm waiting. No, I'm joking.
She's like, well, dang, you hurry up.
No, I'm just mesmerised. Like, you know when everyone's fit just suits them? Like, looking at you both, like, I feel like I can sense so much, like, great energy. And I think, especially when you're having conversations, like, you do want to feel safe. And I think for what both of you are wearing, it's definitely made me feel like, I'm like, oh my God, we're just, like, in our kitchen, just drinking, like, whatever. Like, just having a catch up with the girls. And it just feels so great. Yeah. But yeah, my fashion feeling today was I wanted to be confident and I really just wanted to be Meg. And I think I'm really, like, delving into what Meg looks like and I guess how I can combine the Meg that I've been before, which was in corporate and all of that stuff, and actually really creative and owning masculine as well as feminine kind of strengths. So I've gone for that. Denim and me, we go together real good. I know at some point before I retire, I'm definitely going to have like a denim brand. Like I would love to do a denim tailored wear. So this is a bit of it. But yeah, I'm wearing basically all denim, and funny enough, this is completely reworked, and one of my friends thought I'd got it kind of customed by a designer, like to upholster this. No, they're just different pieces. So I'm wearing this denim jumpsuit from Zara, and it comes all the way on the top, but the zip really irritates me, and I think for a day-to-day, like the cleavage just doesn't work when you want to tone it down. And then I'm wearing this bodysuit, and I can't remember where this one is from. Can't remember if it's Mango or Cos, and it is like an asymmetrical bit, so I think it just gives a little bit of tone and it's a little bit different, and I wore that on top. And then this, believe it or not, is a dress. This is a denim dress. I haven't been to the gym since last year. I don't know her. I don't want to know her either for now. Like, I just want to live comfortably, and when it closes I can't breathe. So I was like, how cool would that look like if it was like a jacket or a coat? Nice. So I threw it on. This, I love wearing like necklaces, bulky things, so I ended up going for the belt that's actually part of the jumpsuit, and I tied it around to kind of make this necklace. So something that Steph has been really challenging me is don't buy new clothes, and I'm just doing just that. So yeah, my vibe for today is just like really open. I can't wait to learn as well, and yeah, just really excited to be holding this space for you both. So thank you.
Reinventing your wardrobe. I love that.
I know. I'm like,
I'm very proud of you, Meg. I'm very proud of you.
You've challenged me in a really great way, and I'm just find it really exciting.
So with that being said, we've already started warming up this conversation around how clothes make us feel, but also with how we want to be perceived as well. I think that's a really big part of it, and a big part as to why people wear certain things. So of course, you're a fashion psychologist. Can you share a bit more about what it is and how you got into the field? Because I know for a lot of people out there, they're probably thinking like, what is that? Never heard of that. Don't know her. But I love it.
It's a very new field. I get that. And it's very niche too, especially if we look at the broader aspect of psychology.
Yeah.
Well, my fashion history, so to speak, my life in the industry has actually started on product. So I worked as a designer. I'm in the fashion industry for over a decade now.
Wow.
As a designer and stylist. I started as a custom tailor, so I breathed product. The product was my language. And I realized, not only through client work, but also through interacting with clothing and my relationship with my clothes and my wardrobe, that clothing is not just only, the product is not only my language, but it's the language of how I talk to other people. I mean, if we're looking at it from a nonverbal communication aspect, right? I mean, we have like 7 seconds until someone had like made their first impression. And clothing is so visual. So it's the first thing you pretty much see.
Right.
And I was just always so intrigued in like, how can I utilize my clothes to just support my mental well-being? And I have done that always very subconsciously. So during the pandemic threw pretty much everyone in the fashion industry off the cliff. I kind of like, okay, how can I how can I use this point of disruption to refocus? Because at the time I wasn't really happy as a designer anymore. I didn't really wanted to live in this world where it's all about producing more and bringing more out there, and how do we get more towards the customer.
Right.
It just didn't align with my own values anymore. And I was like, okay, no, so how can I reset now? So I was able to do my further education. I came to London, did my master's degree. I'm an accredited psychologist now.
Come on.
Yes.
Yeah. Sprinkle a little bit. Just a little bit.
And doing research. I do writing gigs. I'm on TV. I'm here. We're having great conversation. I do some client work. So it all progressed very naturally and organically into the way it's now. And I'm living my best life. So
I love that. I love that so much. Oh my God.
So good.
I guess like on that kind of question around, so you've got your background and experience, but when we think about, like, we was talking about this even outside, fashion is way deeper than just picking something up. So can clothes really impact your moods? What's the science behind that? Teach us.
Yes.
We're in session.
We are your
We are in
students.
session.
School begins.
We are ready
now.
There's one fundamentally well done research paper by Adam and Galinsky, and they have pretty much coined the term of enclosed cognition. And when we're looking at enclosed cognition, it was a study where they utilized the lab code to see what happens with productivity and with your brain when you are wearing certain pieces of garments that have associated stigmatized meaning to it or symbolic meaning to it. So, and it was very profound what they found out, because the lab code for the group that was wearing it as a doctor's coat, their way of thinking, how they approached certain tasks, were increased way more strategically, way more the way a doctor thinks.
Yeah.
And that was such a difference, because then they gave the same coat, exact same thing, to another group, and we're like, hey, there's a painter's coat, a painter's cloak.
Interesting.
The same coat.
The same coat.
Oh,
exactly
my
same.
goodness.
It was a white lab coat.
Yeah.
The exact same.
Yeah, and that, because it had then in that group a different meaning and a different symbolism behind it, it automatically shifted their mindset, and they approached it completely differently than the other group.
Wow.
So that kind of has proven the fact that what we wear does not only affect how we feel, but also how we behave, how we talk, how our brain is just functioning in certain situations. So yeah, that's the science behind that aspect.
I love that. And that's so interesting, the functionality actually behind clothing, and how actually you could give someone the exact same thing, but the functionality behind it can change how you think or feel. We spoke obviously in the pilot about like power dressing. Could you kind of talk a little bit more about the science maybe around power dressing? So a lot of people are professionals and they felt like they couldn't necessarily be themselves at work, or have quite a hard time being bold enough to be like, actually, I'm going against trends and I want to just be me. What is the kind of science behind power dressing, and how does that impact your well-being and your behavior?
Well, what you just spoke to touches upon a lot of psychological theories. And one part of it is definitely like identity and social psychology. So if we're looking at it from like the broad aspect of us, a functioning social human being in like a bigger, broad society. And what I want to just put up front there, like clothing is highly, highly tight knit to who you are and what your identity is. And the problem is that a lot of people face out there, and that's when power dressing comes into play as well, is that we live in a constant internal battle between expectations. And I'm not only talking about the expectations that society gives on us, but also our internal expectations.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's this constant conflict and this constant battlefield inside you where you're trying to like, yes, but I'm me, and then I have to function still in a society where my role is maybe not as it should be, or is it not as aligning with who I am. So that's one part where mental well-being takes a really big hit, because people just cannot really live the way they maybe want to live, especially in our economic situation and the climate at the moment. So that's one aspect. And then if we're looking at social psychology, social psychologists don't say that you own a core self. So they say,
Interesting.
so they say that you have multiple identities within you, and depending on the social concept and the context, you are phasing in and out of certain identities more. So you're tapping into the light of, like, as an example, right now, I am like the fashion psychologist tapped into fully.
Yeah.
But when I go home, I am the wife. When I'm talking with my sisters, I'm the sister.
Right.
So the fashion psychologist part of me taps, so to speak, a little bit into the background.
Yeah.
And clothing can help us tapping even more into those roles. So we're kind of boosting the identity that needs to come forward. So when we're talking about power dressing, again has an intersection also with like how we are perceiving and meaning things. But as an example, a power suit, it's like, right, the best example. Like a suit structured, it has like the societal meaning of authority. So you feel like, I can feel like a boss girl. And this kind of has oftentimes the adaptation to that. And so when you are wearing that, you are tapping into an identity that you might have very deep inside, but it's kind of dragging you out even more. And it also can make you more confident, and you kind of fake it till you make it in a way where you're kind of like getting into the speed of that. And that's just like how your internal processing versus how the interaction with like the outside world functions.
I love that. Like, especially because we spoke about it, and it's like to know the science behind it is so cool.
And I think I loved what you said around almost having multiple identities, because I think sometimes people view themselves as, oh, I'm just this. But to your point, you might be a wife, sister, manager. You might have a side hustle. That's your thing as well. So I guess my next question for you is, many people struggle with curating a wardrobe that really reflects themselves, right? Especially to your point with having multiple identities. So why do you think that is? Why do you think people really struggle with building that wardrobe? And how can they, what are the steps that they could take to building a wardrobe that maybe kind of reflects those different identities that they have?
Well, when it comes to personal style and in general, when you think about what you want to wear, it's first of all, you need to get to know yourself. And I always say you need to fall in love with yourself. You need to stop worrying about what other people think as a primary factor of what drives you throughout the world.
Right.
I'm not the very stereotypical pretty girl out there, and I tried to fit into that narrative when I was younger. And it felt like consistently like a costume. And I had like outfits in my wardrobe that just did not reflect who I am. And so anytime I wore it, it made me look good, but it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
And in the end, like, that's what my research does primarily. I mean, we're looking into like how we can regulate our emotions better, how we can increase our mental well-being. And if we're thinking about like emotion regulatory processes and how complex they are and how to deviate and not suppress, but how we feel our feelings through, it's so important to think about like how can you regulate your best self. And that's just by being truly you. The more confident you are, the easier it is to slot into the clothing and into the style that you want to. So for practical tips, I always say, like, it's always good to, a couple times a year, just go into your wardrobe, do a wardrobe inventory. And I'm not speaking about wardrobe inventory like, oh yeah, that still fits, that doesn't fit. Oh, I don't like that color anymore, throw it out. No, because we are trying to be environmentally conscious here, and we want to make sure that we're not turning over and consistently buying
like
new
clothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, and there's so much more. I want people to fall in love with themselves, and with that, falling in love with your clothing again, because it doesn't mean that just because you have changed, like you've gone through a massive transition of life, like, I don't know, had a baby or whatever, right? That's massive change.
Yeah.
And also physically, you can get your things altered, or you can wear a coat, like a dress turned into a coat. It's like you just need to like think about like the wardrobe that you have, how can it serves me even if I'm progressing and evolving further, and how can your style evolve, and then bring it to a tailor. That's always a good idea. They can help you make it fit again. Or you think about, like, I, as an example, I work my wardrobe a little bit different. A lot of people have their like outfits hung in like color coding and like by product group. I have actually confidence zones.
Oh my God, this is so interesting. We were literally talking about this. Can you speak more about that? That's so, my god! This is
So this is like revelation. We're like, she's validating our
Jennifer
mindset.
knows what she's doing. Oh my goodness! We were literally talking about this. This is serendipity. School is in session.
Yeah,
I feel like the disruptive kids at the back, like.
Well, the thing is, I mean, we all know the Marie Kondo kind of approach, right?
100%.
So we're talking about like you touch something and it needs to spark joy, and then you organize it. That is a very neurotypical approach, right? So you see everything; it's almost like a store.
Yeah.
I'm neurodiverse. My brain does not function that way.
Oh, I feel like there's like a little whisper our brains do so we can figure each other out.
Yeah.
I knew it. I was like, how did you work out the algorithm to do your wardrobe like that? You must be a little bit tism spicy. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to say, but I was like, I could sense something.
The thing is that I always tell all my clients, like, hey, if the Marie Kondo approach works for you, that's
Good for you.
Great.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fantastic. I just give you another option of the buffet. Because the thing is, in the end, you need to find a way that works for you. And just because it is not the stereotypical way to do it, it's not you. You know, it needs to fit your purpose. And as an example, when I sort everything by color and blazer next to blazer next to blazer, I lose things that I actually need and wear way more often.
That's so true.
Yeah, so I have a
So,
confident
so
corner.
true.
I have a corner about like a happy corner. I have a corner that like is good for when I'm feeling really down and I need to work. So if I'm feeling down and I want to tap into my comfy corner, I can do that. But if I feel like I need to still function in society because I have, I don't know, a gig or I have to have a deadline and I need to get something done, I still need to tap into that. So I have then a corner for that. And all of my clothes have emotional meaning.
Wow.
So, and that is, and to be fair, just as a little disclaimer here, when you are doing that kind of wardrobe inventory, that's exhausting. So give yourself time.
Yeah,
You don't have to do it in one day. You don't have to do it in a weekend. If you do it over 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, I have clients I'm doing this over 2 months with, where we are going through section by section because some pieces are so emotionally loaded with memories that you have to process it in due time.
Right.
Yeah.
So so I do that, and it helps me because I kind of know this is my section that I know how I need to feel and I want to feel, and then I reach into that. And hey, if I feel like, okay, I want to mix and match, I still know where my trousers are.
Yeah.
So
They're not like completely locked in different boxes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but I have like this one specific corner where I have like my core pieces that function and work well. But that's my way of dressing and feeling good, and I always know where it is and stuff. But and I also see it. You open the door and you're like, yes. And sometimes when you don't know how you want to feel or you need to feel or you don't know how you feel in the morning because you're sleepy or whatever, and you open the door and you are immediately drawn to a piece, you're like, maybe that's my subconscious telling me I need to
This is
actually
what I need
like,
today.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, that is so good.
I really
You see,
love
guys,
this.
clothes are way deeper than you think.
I know.
They are
Literally.
way deeper than you think. I've got so many questions,
So
like
do I.
so many follow-ups. I guess from a selfish perspective, because I always use these, I use literally Steph as my own school. This podcast is obviously all about sustainability and conscious thinking, and I guess conscious fashion in terms of actually reusing the things and getting to know it as a mindset. And I think so much of what you spoke was just gems and gems and gems.
Yeah,
But I think the big bit is the reality around inventories. Like when you're told to build like a capsule wardrobe, it always seems like you have to go and get something new. Or when you are trying to find your style, it's always kind of linked, whether intentionally because of market and consumerism, but it literally feels like you're constantly told new, get rid of the old and in with the new, like spring cleaning. It's that whole thing of like packing things away. I am guilty of it. Not anymore, I'm trying. But I would be that person that will buy things for new reasons. Like if I feel like I need to refresh myself, I need to go get something new. What is your advice to anyone that's trying to break out of that habit of like pleasure spending, dopamine rushes, or going through like that heavy consumerism, and how can they be more intentional with building that psychological connection to clothes and the reality behind kind of what that might look like and things to look out for?
Well, shop your wardrobe first.
Yeah.
You can literally go into your wardrobe and consider it as a store to get this dopamine rush. I mean, I'm not saying that, you can also go shop secondhand. I mean, that's also a good way. You can think about pieces that might not serve. I mean, I have this one dress that I love, but I just don't wear it anymore because I don't know, I'm not drawn to that color as much because it's not my color for my personal style. So I go and get it made into a skirt so it's away from my face so I can pair it with something else. So just give your clothing new life. That can be actually super, super exciting. And then also one thing that I always stress is when you are doing a complete wardrobe revamp, you are losing the gems you have in your wardrobe. And I'm not talking about the Zara shirt you bought 2 years ago, but I'm talking about, but I'm talking about that Zara shirt that you bought 2 years ago and that you went on to a girls trip with, and it gave you insane memories and you love it. If you put it away and then these memories are gone, the emotions attached to it are gone, the psychological meaning that are attached are gone. So the piece that can evoke feelings in you is gone. So that's why I'm always saying, like, try to fall back in love with what you already own. And if it's not fitting you, I mean, we all grow, we lose weight, we gain weight, we give birth and hips widen or whatever. You can always alter things, or even like, I go so far, sweaters that I don't wear anymore, I rework them into a blanket or whatever, right?
Ooh,
so you can do whatever you want
cool.
as long as there's like an emotional attachment. And the stronger your emotional attachment and meaning get into your wardrobe, the more stronger your core sense of self becomes. So you grow along with your wardrobe. So that's one thing. And then the aspect of like the spring renewal and all of that is so true. But you can dye like pieces of clothing. If you have like this white dress that has been washed 20 million times and it started to go gray, instead of throwing it through the bleach bath to get it back to white, if it's like a cotton fiber or like a natural fiber, you can just throw it in a wash with a pot dye and you dye it in a different color. So you can just try to figure that out. And just fall in love with your own clothing again.
I love that. Oh my God.
I really, really love that.
Well, I guess we're done then. Like, we've got No, that was brilliant. Thank you so much.
It was so good. And I really loved what you said around just ensuring that you really have that emotional attachment to your clothes. So even when I think about like why I started my brand, it's like a slow fashion brand. I really want to encourage people to take that slower approach when it comes to building their wardrobe. Because to your point, like as a brand owner, knowing that one of my pieces is part of someone's story, I don't know, let's say their partner proposes and they're wearing my shoes, it's like, I'm part of that story now.
Yeah.
So to your point, you might not wear those shoes as much anymore, but you've got that memory attached to it. So it's like, of course I'm going to keep this. Like I can hand it down to my kids, or do you know what I mean? It's like, I love the fact that not only does it like tell our story, but it also signifies to experiences that we've had in our life. And I think that is so powerful. And that's why I want people to stop just buying stuff because they've seen it on their favorite influencer, or I think it might look nice on me, but I don't know if I actually truly like it, because then it will just end up in their wardrobe untouched. Yeah. And you're like, I'm just going to get rid of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that we need to not have that mindset anymore about clothes.
I think it's what you said when you were defining what you meant by like timeless. Like, can things ever truly be timeless? But actually the mindset behind it. When you both were like talking about being part of someone's like thread. So we have this whole thing around like thread theory, or like thread stories, or your thread therapy, which is like looking at your clothes beyond just being clothes. And I'm now looking at what we're all wearing and I'm like, well, this is going to be part of that thread. It's part of the stitch now of this. I'm going to remember this conversation, everything we had. So when I look at my wardrobe, I can pick that feeling again. Like I want to tap into those moments. Like I'm now starting to see my wardrobe as those glass jars, you know, the snow globes that you can like look into. You're like, oh my God, I can just flick through that moment. And that's such an interesting thing, because of probably if we weren't having this conversation, we wouldn't have actually tapped into that strength of
for sure.
Actually clothes are such a big part of your storybook too. And I just love that.
There's even, no, you go.
Oh, sorry. No, the thing is also what I think is, but also one thing that's really, really important is that memories can change.
Yeah.
Right. And emotions can change. And then you just need to give yourself grace and time. Because that's the thing where like everyone talks about the capsule wardrobe. I'm not a capsule wardrobe person. I lived like over a decade.
Like, not even a little bit. Not even like, a little bit.
I walk in wardrobe. I want my own like tiny Jennifer Heinen store inside my own like wardrobe, because it's just like, this is me like accumulation of me, and I don't want to shrink myself down to 12 pieces or whatever the appropriate amount of capsule wardrobe is. For some people it works. There are people that need like the decision fatigue taken away and stuff.
Right.
That's all very real, but for me it just doesn't fit. But the thing is also, like, I have this one blouse that I always talk about. This one blouse is a hand-me-down from my grandmother. She always wore it when she had like a very, very specific event, like, I don't know, a wedding or like a nice dinner, family dinner or whatever. It was like her nice blouse.
Oh.
And she passed away in 2019. And grief is such a fickle thing because I knew the moment she passed, I wanted that blouse.
That was literally me.
That was you. It's so crazy.
But I couldn't touch it for so long because
the feelings.
The heart, like, I haven't processed the grief to get it to a point where it's just love left over unshared. So
Why does that make me emotional?
Because you're also facing the star, which doesn't help.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, little side note. So my nan's name was Nova, and obviously there's a star behind you. And she passed in 2016, and like she was a fashion icon. Like I've got pieces of hers now. So yeah, sorry. Go on.
yeah,
But even that, the connectivity that it has
Absolutely.
is really interesting.
And the thing is that, you know, like this blouse now is like my anchor point whenever I feel like I need my grandmother, the fiercest person out there, not very outspoken, but when she said anything, it landed. It was like, whoa, you woke me up just now. And I need her sometimes, like this fierceness, this kind of her character and her way of behaving that's so needed and to ground me oftentimes. So I could not touch that blouse for a very long time, but now I wear it like as a piece of armor. It's like my first line of defense. And that took time. I would have never tossed that out ever. I could have never imagined or even find something similar than that.
No.
It's just this piece I see when I have it hanging up. I mean, it fits on me differently than on her. So it does already look different on me than it did look on her. But you need to give yourself grace and time and kindness towards and compassion towards yourself. And especially grief is such a big anchor point for so many people to think about their wardrobe slightly differently, and taking pieces as heirlooms or jewelry applies the same thing. It's just clothing is way more surface covered. So it's just way more intense. But so for me, it took time to cope with my grief and get out of that feeling of just loss and turning it into just the leftover love that still needs to be lived. And I feel like every time I wear this blouse now, I love outward because I have her love with me.
That's already overflowing.
Yes, it's already overflowing, and there's no vessel of her left on earth that I can pour it into. So let me pour it into other people.
Right.
So that's kind of like how I approach that blouse now. But it took time to get there, and it took time to just like process it and allow myself to feel my feelings. A lot of people suppress emotions because they feel like this is the only way to get through. The one thing that people forget is psychologically, you cannot selectively suppress emotions. If you suppress one, you suppress them all.
Yeah.
That includes you suppress your anger, but that means you suppress your happiness too, and you suppress your love and your care and your compassion too. It's like the more you suppress, and it can actually have a massive effect on your memory too. It can fracture your memory.
Yeah.
So it's so important that people learn to be compassionate and feel their feelings. And hey, if that means that you have to have a dramatic movie moment and step into your shower and cry it all out, hey, if it gets out, it gets out.
Needed.
I always say it. Listen,
Yeah,
I have
sure.
my go-to playlist soundtrack for when my life is falling apart. I know the same song I'll play when I didn't get certain grades, when I didn't get into the university that I wanted, break up, when I'm having a mental B as well, like being like all of those moments. I go to the same song and I will do the most dramatic thing. I sit in my bathroom, I put the shower on, and I just sit and cry.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think people forget, like, you actually are the main character of your life. Like, you need to, like, unless you do that, no one else is going to do that for you. So sometimes that might look like grieving openly or wearing that. That's also part of understanding your feelings. What you wear is so connected to your feelings. So thank you both also for sharing so openly about the grief, because, yeah, clothing is such a big thing. And Steph asked everyone such a triggering question when we had our first episode, which was like, can you look at your wardrobe and have you got anything that you can pass down? And obviously fast fashion, no, you probably don't, but it's the memories that you can. And I think actually tapping into that and giving yourself grace that is from representative of who you are at that point, and that can also be the stories that you pass down. So I just love it. And yeah, thank you guys for sharing those amazing stories with the people that you've lost, because they're in the room right now, and I just love that. And it's just such a beautiful kind of onus to it. So yeah, thank you both for being so open about your grief.
I'm actually working at the moment. I mean, I don't have children, but I'm actually working on a really cool project at the moment where so I do wardrobe journaling. So journaling is a very well-known tool when you're going through therapy, to just be able to reflect and have anchor points and writing everything out that it's in your brain. It's cluttering your brain up. And I do that with my wardrobe too. So sometimes when I have a very emotional day, I mean, I'm definitely going to journal about this moment today, where I'm going to write down, like, okay, I wore this and this and this. Sometimes I take a photo and glue it in as well. It's just like a notebook from the store, you know, like nothing fancy. But it's just like I'm collecting all of that written analog. Because for me, it's also like, if someone at some point, if I pass and, you know, my husband's still around and he wants to look at it, he has tangible things with even deeper meaning. I mean, I don't know what my grandmother felt most of the time when she wore it. And I wish I would know, but I don't. So I try to just have that memorized, even also for myself. If I need to go back into like, okay, why did I even feel that way about that? Or like, a suit that hang in my closet for like 2 years and I haven't worn it. Why have I not worn it? And then sometimes you're having conflicting feelings and you kind of need to get back into the relationship with that piece. So, okay, let's go back to the beginning. What did I do? What did I feel it like? And maybe sometimes it's also like, I need to let it go then. And then I give it to someone else and they can make better memories with it. So it's just like being way more intentional in your wardrobe choices.
In my own wardrobe, I'm even thinking about why I'm drawn to certain pieces on certain days or certain occasions. So for example, when I wore this dress for the first time, it was like the first fashion show I'd done, like for my brand. And I was so nervous because it's like, I don't know anyone here, like, but I'm the type of person, anytime I feel nervous, I will dress really bold. So even like, it kind of like deflects how I'm truly feeling. It's like, oh, she looks super confident. It's like, I'm dying. I'm literally dying inside, but you're never going to know. So maybe I gravitated towards this for this episode because, again, meeting someone new, but it's also like a celebration in a way because you're our first guest. So that's a celebration in itself.
Exactly.
And again, just thinking about the psychology of fashion, like it's about celebrating you, really, isn't it? So...
But if you're wearing bold things, like especially bold colors, they do trigger your brain to send out serotonin. So it's your happy hormone. So there is science behind that too.
Told you, and what a good
Do you know
segue
what?
to
Oh
go
my gosh, that was our
into.
next question. You just read our mind. What?
We're just all in sync, guys. I told you. It's literally, it's one brain, 3 people, and it's brilliant. Like, absolutely. Do you want to ask it?
I'll let you ask it.
Oh. Steph and I have been obsessed with colour theory at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because obviously you've seen it all over TikTok, trending. You see someone sat in the seat, their hair's tucked away, and
It's
someone's
like,
put
are
the
you
shirt. Are you this
autumn?
colour?
Are you summer?
Are you a nice winter? And to the average person, I can't do that at home, really. It doesn't seem accessible. It seems like something that you have to outsource, but you can. There must be things that you can do. So from your experience and the science behind it, what is colour theory? Because not everyone knows what it is. And how can you find your own colour theory and figure that out with your wardrobe in part of your audit?
So you're talking about the personal styling aspect of it.
Yes, definitely.
Well, color theory is real. I mean, you have undertones in your skin. Now I have to tap back into my stylist self from like a couple of years ago.
Stylist hat on now. Yeah.
Go
Stylist
for
hat
it.
on. No, so you have certain undertones in your skin. You have different contrasting of your, like I'm a high contrast person. I have very fair skin and have dark hair, dark eyebrows, dark eyes. So I'm a high contrast. So fair colors don't look very good on me. Like as an example, like everyone is talking about butter yellow at the moment. Butter yellow doesn't suit me at all.
You remember we were saying,
it's going to make me feel and look even more pale.
Yeah.
And it drains all color out of me. Other colors make me shine brighter and red. So there is backing to color theory.
Wow.
But yes, you would have to outsource it because it's very difficult to do it on your own because you are intrinsically already biased towards certain colors. But there is a silver lining there because you are intrinsically already coded towards certain colors that you are drawn to. It's usually for people who are very in tone with what they are wearing. They reach for the right colors already. So as an example, I always reached for like a more like a royal or navy blue rather than like the baby pale, like a pastel blue.
Yeah.
So I always reached already towards the right colors. So of course, for people who are struggling with being in tune with how they look and everything, and they're not like they're experimenting a lot or they're wanting because they love this certain set of colors. Like I know there are a few people who love spring, but they're just a cool tone person, so they cannot wear spring because it's all warm tone colors.
Yeah.
But you can find the right things, and the thing is that the colors should not ever outshine you.
Yeah.
They should support you in being the shining aspect of your look. So I do recommend to, if you really want to figure it out, go and find someone who can do it professionally because it will change the way you're looking at yourself and the colors. You might even are drawn to colors that you didn't expect you could wear. But in the end, trust your gut a little bit and just try it out. I mean, if you go on, like, if you're in London City and you want to just go and you don't necessarily want to go shopping, but you just want to experiment, go into an outlet store and try on a few colors and see how they make your face look. And that will do you some good. If we're looking at color psychology, it's slightly different.
Okay.
So in color psychology, we're looking at what do certain colors do to you emotionally. And as an example, red tones, yellow tones, all of the fiery colors, they can evoke, they trigger a certain way of, they trigger a certain aspect in your brain where you are like feeling more confident. It can evoke like fiery personalities. It can increase your heart rate. It just can hype you up a little bit. Instead of blue, like it's also one of the reasons why I'm wearing this suit today, because this is my soothing blue. Blues and greens, earth tones, natural tones, they have this automatic, because when we're surrounded by nature, it trickles into your subconscious and into your brain wiring that if you wear blue, and it's funny that we're all wearing like
colors. Unplanned, by the way. No one spoke about what we were going to wear, so it's just happened that we're all interconnected.
Exactly. So it's good to know that. Like I've been actually doing quite a lot of segments at the moment outside of this podcast where I'm also talking a lot about color psychology in general, because it has a massive effect on your dopamine levels, on your serotonin levels. So it can just help you. Like we're talking about dopamine dressing is like this trend word now that is coming from fashion psychology, actually, where we're talking about like how certain things that we wear, certain colors that we wear can send out more dopamine. So it has an increasing effect on our ability to behave within certain aspects of life. So it's really, really fascinating. So it's very different though. So if you want to combine it, you just have to figure out which is your color spectrum that suits you well, and then think about the colors in that spectrum of like, okay, reds and yellows, the ones that fit me. Like there are so many hues and undertones that suit everyone differently. They can evoke the same thing, like as a very bright red can evoke the same color effect on you versus a coral that you would never wear does the same to another person. So they're like the color psychology is above it all, and then you have like the subsets of that. So
it's like find your colors that work for you, and then go back to the books and be like, what do those colors suggest or evoke, and then tap into them as your way of connecting your well-being with your clothing.
But also, to be honest, I mean, it's also so personal. I mean, in the end, like we're individuals and we all are differently. Like we have different trauma, we have different life experiences, so that all shapes who we are as well. Yeah. So that's also why personal style needs to be so personal. It's personal on your own individual being. Because the thing is that I have friends who wear only black. Black is their confident color, black is their sad color, black is their all color.
Yeah.
And if you put them into like a white shirt, you're like, who are you? So it's like you have to just figure out what works best for you. So of course the psychological anchors and the science behind it can support you to inform yourself, but in the end you need to still make your own experience and figure out what works for you.
Yeah.
I think it's super interesting, and I guess lifestyle plays a really like big part as well into personal style. Because some, like, for example, I'm a marketing manager, like, by day. But because my workplace isn't like super diverse, I dress down because I guess not that I want to be hidden, but I don't want to draw more attention to myself. Whereas when I'm outside work, that's a completely different step. So I feel like people's lifestyles, of course, also determine like their personal style and then like the pieces they put in their wardrobe. So I guess my question for you is there like a science between dressing up and dressing down, like for your environment? Like, are there certain reasons why people feel like they have to do that?
Yeah, we're talking about social psychology again here, and it's fascinating because in the end, it's all about like the theory of fitting in versus standing out. And in the end, if we're thinking about it, I mean, in social groups, we need to fit in, right? Because it's how dynamics work. You don't want to be singled out, bullied, whatever. So, of course, there's the psychological aspect of community and having to be a collective. And when you are at your workplace, the collective just shapes slightly different. And then you're just tapping into the marketing stuff a little more than your outside fashion entrepreneur stuff. So it's so important to keep that in mind, that occasion dressing is a thing. I mean, you don't want to go to a wedding and wear white. Right.
Some people do though.
Some people do, but they do that on purpose.
Yeah, and I'm like, sorry, what? Like, you know, when you actually have to like,
I know.
It's like what we say when people do like hate comments. Like, there's so many options for you to have changed your mind. Do you know what I mean? And like, you would have had to go through lots of different. Oh yeah, I'm doing this. What? Absurd. So yeah, what you mentioned around occasion dressing. What should we look out for then?
Well, when it comes to, first of all, it's always great to have a dress code. If there is no dress code given, no matter what it is, you can always ask the host. I'm always like, why is no one asking the host? Like during my wedding, like I had jewel tones. That was like because we did all this 1920s themed. We wanted to have all Great Gatsby, so jewel tones were like the thing. And a lot of people were like, okay, but like the color that you're wearing right now, a lot of people would have not considered a jewel tone because it's maybe like an emerald green.
Right.
But this is a jewel tone too. I mean, we have like a peridot is like in that green. So a lot of people were like so constricted. And for me, then I was like, talk to me. Like I put that into the invitation. Like if you are unsure what to wear, just talk to me. I want you to feel good that day. So please come by and I'm happy to talk with you about it. So always reach out to the host is also good.
I love that.
On weddings, if you are even considering it is slightly too white, don't wear it.
Yeah.
Even if it's a pale butter yellow, don't wear it, because sometimes depending on how the photographer is editing the photos, it shifts slightly to white. So that just don't. If you are even considering it's too pale, don't wear it. Or wear it with a pattern, like if it's like a baby blue and then you have like a dark blue pattern over it to remove the whiteness look of it. Then do that. Absolutely. But in general, occasion dressing, I mean, think about what is the best uniform you can wear that is still representative of you. Yeah. I always like to talk, like when we're talking about uniforms also in like a work aspect, I love to bring up Kamala Harris. Yeah. She's great because we're talking a lot about like power dynamics and power suits. And she still wears her suits that she needs to wear to be taken serious. True. But she gives it her Kamala Harris twist. So she wears like a silky blouse or has like her pillow strings. So she makes it more feminine, more her. Right. So there is like this way you can always tweak and twist the outfits a little bit to get them more to fit you. So maybe you have to just look at what you're toning down, and maybe you can wear a pop of color somewhere where it won't make you feel super stand out.
Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's perfect. We are almost at the end, and I wish we could talk to you forever, but time will not let us. I guess the last one, which is the best one, which will be a super quick one for us to end, is if someone is listening and wants to start making more mindful fashion choices today, what's one small but powerful step that they can take?
Go home, go to your wardrobe, open it, and find one piece that always makes you confident, and put it out. Hang it out of your wardrobe, have it visible there, and start to wear it more often.
I love that. You got homework. I've got homework.
I do.
You guys got homework. Everyone has homework.
Wardrobe journaling, guys. Wardrobe journaling. I'm going home to do that today. Absolutely.
Oh, me too.
I'm off next week from work.
Like, I even want to buy more film. I want to make sure these are Polaroids. Like this, given that you've got a
so
memoir
good.
that you're leaving. No,
Yeah.
there was so many takeaways. Thank you so much,
You're
Jennifer.
very
Like,
welcome.
wow. I wish we could talk to you forever. Honestly,
I think
this
you
has
might
been-
need to come back on.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Like, there's
Happy
so many
to come
things
back
we
on.
did
Please.
not cover that I need to know.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have so much more to talk about. So
Yes.
I'm happy to come
I just
back.
don't even believe how quickly we're yappers, which doesn't help, right? Like, we can yap for England, and then to bring in another person who's incredibly passionate as well was not easy. So, guys, this
Incredible.
wasn't easy. We don't want it to end, but this is where we've got to today. But there's so many amazing takeaways, right?
So many.
I'm
Before
glad.
we leave, where can people find you and follow your journey?
Well, I'm on Instagram and all social media. I'm not very. I try to be better. I promise betterness there. I'm on Substack now. So if you
I
want to
love
read way
Substack.
more about fashion psychology, I write about personal experience, about client experience. I talk about like reflection pieces of my podcast when I talk with people who are super inspiring too. So it's like, so you can find me on Substack. It's all Style My Mind. So I have a website. It's all linked there. So I can give you all of the links.
Of
You can put
course.
them
We
into
will
the info
put
box.
everything in the description.
Yes, we will.
Oh, we have to say goodbye now.
I know.
I don't want to.
I know.
Well, thank you all so much for watching and listening. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend so we can get this out there. And always remember that the best fashion statement you can make is by staying true to yourself. So,
Without
until
further ado.
next time, bye.